Hello, welcome everybody. Hope you can hear me okay. Sorry for the little bit of a delay there. I see we've got a couple people watching live now. I want to say welcome to you. My name is Ben, and I'm going to be your IELTS instructor today. Perhaps you saw our lesson last week on task 1. We did an introduction to the strategy and organization for part 1, the diagrams type essay. This is for the academic IELTS essay. In today's lesson, we are going to follow up on that assignment. Now, I gave you an assignment last week, which was to write the essay based on the outline that we created last week. In today's class, I am going to look at the 2 student essays that I received and give some feedback on that. As I said last week, we looked at this topic, which was a kind of diagram or a flow chart, as it were, from kind of digging for clay all the way through to delivering bricks. Okay, this is what does it say here? The process by which bricks are manufactured for the building industry. Let me hide that here. Ooh, very nice. Okay. All right. And we decided last week that the best way to divide this information into is to divide it right here. Creating the bricks and then drying, packaging, and delivering them. All right. So our outline, we decided this part here was going to be above the red line. This part here below the red line. All right. Now in my writing course, I give tons of examples of how this should be done. Okay, with all types of essays, not only diagrams, but with bar charts, pie charts, etc. But here, we're just looking at diagrams, and let's look here at student attempt number 1. All right, now this was sent in by a student. I'm not going to mention their name just for privacy, but yeah, you can check on the event and probably find out actually. But we see the 4 pieces. So let's start with the introduction. The diagram shows the process by which bricks are made for building. Let's check the original. The process by which bricks are made, manufactured for building, the building industry. You'll want to paraphrase more than that. For one thing, the examiner, when they read this, anything that is directly the same as the prompt will not be counted in the word count. You might be okay. Let's see. Ah, yeah, okay. You've got 190 words already, so maybe that's not a problem. But this is really an opportunity to show a skill to the examiner. The skill is I can paraphrase one sentence using my own words. All right, so I would like to see a better job of paraphrasing here, okay, if you really want to get that level 7 or higher band score. The process starts with the raw clay being dug and put through a metal grind. It is then mixed with water and sand and molded. After molding, it is sent to the dryer, then kilned, packaged, and then delivered. This is not bad. If anything, I think it may get into too many specific details. Okay? Yeah, you really are going into pretty close detail about the process here. Remember, the summary is where you kind of zoom out and look at the big picture. Okay? Remember that I told you it's kind of like the message of the story. Okay? Or this is the part that if you're submitting this report to your boss, if your boss doesn't need to know the details, this is the part that just tells your boss what is in this report. What is this report about? Okay, think of it that way. This is a very technical skill. Think about the audience. I like to think of my boss. My boss that doesn't really need to know the details. If my boss wants to read the details, she can look more closely at what I've written here. But this section is to give your boss kind of a snapshot of what it is. Okay, a very broad, wide lens summary. Okay, so a little less detail here would be um, better. To begin the process of manufacturing, raw clay is dug and passed through a metal grinder. Is it a grinder? A grid, I think is what it is here. Maybe it was hard to read, but yeah, this should be a metal grid. To loosen it, then mixed with sand and water. Okay? The mixture is then molded to form bricks. The process of molding could be done by using a wire cutter or a molder to get the shapes of the bricks. That's not bad. The tone here seems a little bit... I would rather you say there are two methods of shaping the bricks. Or molding the bricks. Either using a wire cutter or using a molder. Okay? There are two methods, or two methods exist. Let's see, manufacturers can use two methods. Could be done. I think it's the could that's a little bit strange to me. Okay? It's almost like a possibility. If anything, changing it to can would be a little bit better. Okay? Could has this kind of a conditional or possibility sort of meaning. Here we're almost giving just two options. So I think can is better for this process. Okay? See if we have any comments here. All right, cool. Now, after molding, the next step in the process is the drying oven, which could last from 24 hours to 48 hours. Be careful here. You want a space between 24 and 48, right? Okay. After drying, the bricks are sent to the kiln. Here there are two steps. Good. The first, the moderate. Now, moderate is not a very good noun. Okay, you have the moderate. I would say here something like the first stage uses moderate heat with a temperature between 980 degrees Celsius, and the second stage uses high heat. Moderate and high should be used as adjectives, not nouns, okay, to make this better. However, the sentence construction here is quite good. Okay. From the kiln, the bricks are sent to the cooling chamber for a period between 48 hours and 72 hours, after which they are packaged and delivered. Okay, this is actually very nice writing. Okay. Not any huge problems, and we have very good use of the throughout. Okay. Articles are always kind of a problem. Your use of task one, or your use of articles in task one is very from task two. Okay? Task one, we kind of introduce a noun here like clay and grind, although this should be grid. But yeah, raw clay and a metal grind, water, sand, right? Even here, we're still in introduction mode, kind of raw clay, a metal grid, and mixed with sand and water. And then we have the mixture, right? The process, a wire cutter, a molder, the shapes, the bricks. You see all of this article usage is actually very well done here, okay? But a lot of students really struggle with that for task one, okay? So I do a lot of one-to-one correction through my website, and this is one of the problems that I am always helping students to solve, is kind of changing the way that you think about articles. In a lot of languages, articles don't exist. Those languages are better. English is really hard because of this kind of grammar point. So if you do struggle with articles, I would suggest working with someone one-to-one to find out where you are going wrong and what in your mental process is going wrong there. All right? So overall, very nice approach, pretty good grammar structure, and just a few areas that I would like to see fixed. There's one area for organization that you could improve a little bit. Here, I really like the introduction for this sentence, to begin the process of manufacturing. This is almost like a sign to the reader that we're starting at the beginning, right? Here, we've got after molding, which is not bad, but then we have the next step. So I would say adding really like a topic sentence here, like, let's see, something like, after molding, several steps several steps take the bricks from their raw stage into the finished state to be delivered. Okay, some kind of summary here of what this paragraph is. Okay, we want something more like a topic sentence that will cover all of this stuff. After molding, it's a start, but it's not quite enough to signal to the reader what is involved in here. All right, cool, not bad though, pretty good. Hello, Toddy, welcome. Abba, welcome to you as well. All right, we got a few people here. I'm sorry this is not the most interactive lesson, but I want to make sure I give some thorough, well, this is tab number 2, some thorough feedback here for these people who submitted their homework for me. The diagram presented here elucidates the process of manufacturing bricks for the construction industry. Elucidates is maybe a little bit fancy for task 1. Okay, this technical writing. I would use illustrates would be better, or details would be really good as well. Detail can be used as a verb, if you're a little confused by that. Overall, it is possible to divide the whole process in, I'm just going to make a couple of quick little statements here, into 2 parts. First part presents the extraction of clay and the mixing of the feedstock. Mixing of the feedstock. I don't think feedstock appears in here, and it definitely doesn't match this topic. I think you maybe used a model essay for a different topic, thinking that feedstock was a little more general word. Feedstock is very specific to agriculture, okay? I believe it is the stuff that you give to animals, maybe, to eat. Like the stuff you give to pigs to eat, or cows or chickens, I think. I'm not a farming expert, but definitely this word does not belong in here. Well, the second part details all the processes the molded bricks undergo until the final step when they are delivered. Okay, not bad. Yeah, in terms of the approach, I don't think that you want, you've done a good job of stepping back, but the problem is this statement is a perfect kind of mirror of this statement, okay? In some ways, what you want here is a different perspective on the topic, okay? So if you're dividing this in terms of first major step, second major step, you don't want this sentence to say exactly that. See what I mean? That's the kind of the same angle on the topic, the same perspective on the topic. So in a way, you want this sentence to maybe take the perspective of the manufacturer and say, overall, the process of turning clay into bricks is quite complicated and involves both molding the bricks and drying the bricks, or molding the bricks and preparing them for delivery. Something like that. Something a bit more broad, okay, and not exactly the same as the body. All right? So yeah, this feels to me like a little bit of a lost opportunity to do something different with that summary. It's not bad, but I would change it a little bit if you want that 7 or higher kind of level. In order to fabricate bricks, it is necessary to extract the clay and separate its useful part from the waste. Yeah, okay, I could see that. Yep, that's fine. It looks like that's the purpose of the grid. You didn't mention the grid here, right? I think you should. Otherwise the reader's like, is that? That's probably what the grid is for. But it doesn't really say that directly in the diagram, so I would add the word grid here to make it more clear to the reader. Okay. After that, the material selected is mixed with water and sand, becoming the raw material that can either be cut or molded into brick shape. Brick shape is a little strange. Maybe brick shapes? Yeah. I really like this, though. This is very nice, concise writing, in a way. 2 sentences might be a little short, but I think this is okay. It is necessary to, so maybe a little bit unnatural here. Okay? Something like maybe the process begins with the fabrication of bricks, in which clay is extracted and separated into the useful parts and the waste. It's not the best writing just off the top of my head, but yeah, it is necessary to is a little bit odd here. And then when we get to the second paragraph, we have sort of the same problem here. You said the second part starts with, we don't really have a kind of topic sentence that summarizes this whole paragraph. That's kind of what's missing here, is a kind of a marker for the reader, like, hey, this is what this paragraph is about. Okay? So something a little bit added there, but you've got quite a lot of detail in this part. Let's see your overall word count. 193. Okay, so this part seems to be much more detailed than this one. The examiner is going to pick up on that, okay? So 2 sentences here, 5 sentences here. Looks like you need either more detail here or a little bit less here, or maybe both. Okay? The second part starts with the drying process that lasts from 24 to 48 hours and takes place before sending the bricks into a kiln where they are going to be is strange. Okay? They are exposed. Okay? Don't use future tense here. Yeah. Yeah, this is not a process in the future. This is a process that should be described in present simple only. Moderate and then to much higher temperatures. Not bad. Very long sentence here, and I think with too much content to really be contained in one. Okay? I would separate the sentence here, start a new sentence here. Okay? The burning process starts, I'd say drying process. They're not burning them, they're drying them, I think. The drying process starts with the temperature, maybe not drying. Yeah, drying, is that right? Is it drying? No, drying is here, right? What would you call this? Burning seems strange. There's a word in the... Let's see, there's a word in the art industry, if you're a kind of sculptor you mold things out of clay, you use the word fire. The firing process it would be. Although it's a bit technical or a bit specific to use on the exam. Heating would be better. Burning sounds like we're going to burn the bricks, which is not quite right. Starts with the temperature varying from 200 degrees to 980 degrees, followed by temperatures of, okay, good. Subsequently, the bricks lay in a cooling chamber for a period of 48 to 72 hours, only then be packaged and delivered to end markets. Would be fine. Yeah, good. The word only here, oh no, it's okay. Yeah, you mentioned this cooling. Pretty good. We've got some really good examples. I expected to see a couple of variety. This is really kind of 6.5 level writing for the most part. I'm not going to give a detailed score breakdown in this free class, but I definitely do for my essay corrections, but here we're really looking more for approach, which both of you, I'd say the main feedback that I have is both of you kind of missed an opportunity at the beginning of the second body paragraph to add something that summarizes that whole paragraph. Okay? That's the one thing that's missing a little bit. Overall, nice job though, you guys. Very nice. Jane says, Jane Helen, I found feedstock to be material that is used in an industrial process. Let me look it up real quick. The word stuck out to me as being strange, but feedstock. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Let me see some examples. Sorry, I know you can't see my screen, but I'm just doing a little Googling here. Okay, I think I see maybe the problem here. I think feedstock is more about fuel. So here's the example that I got. I'll just put this in. Oops. So that you guys can see it. Make it a little bigger for you. It says biomass feedstocks are the plant and algal materials used to derive fuels like ethanol, butanol, biodiesel, and other hydrocarbon fuels. So these are examples of biological feedstock, but you can see that they are, well, shoot. To me, these seem like for fuel, but maybe I'm looking too specifically at the example. Let's see. The other one I saw is crude oil, okay, which is used to produce industrial chemicals and fuels. Lumber. Okay, maybe you're okay. Well, no, that's what raw material means. Shoot. Look at one more example. I know it's pretty boring to watch me search for something on the internet, but I'm seeing mostly the production of energy, okay, or using something like oil to create other products. I'm not really seeing something like clay, because clay is not really being used to power a industrial process. It is just kind of the raw materials that are used. Raw material might be the word that we're looking for. So where was that feedstock? Yeah, the mixing of the raw materials, I think, would be better. Okay? I think that's what we're looking for. Feedstock seems very specific to particular industries, mainly chemical industries. All right? I may be wrong on that. I'm sure you guys will fact check me, but it's good that we've got that squared away. Question from Jane, should we use the words in the diagram as keywords in the text? Absolutely. When it comes to a diagram or like a flow chart, you don't want to use synonyms unless you are sure. Certain words you could maybe find a synonym for. For example, roller, maybe you could say rolling device. All right? But words like mold, I don't think you could really substitute the word mold. Or wire cutter. I don't think there's any substitute for that. Okay? So yes, totally fine to use words from the diagram. Okay? Cooling chamber. You could say maybe a chamber in order to be cooled. something like that. But yeah, drying oven, cooling chamber. These are kind of very specific terms for very specific things. I wouldn't try to change them too much. All right, cool, you guys. Well, I'm gonna call it there because in about 15 minutes I have a private lesson that I've got to prepare for just a little bit. So, all right, thanks a lot, you guys. It's great to talk to you, and I will see you again soon. Join IELTS for All if you have not already. Okay? Bye, everybody. See you later. Have a great weekend.